The age-old question of whether we shape our own destiny, or if it's all predetermined, is one that has intrigued minds throughout history. Weird coincidences, those uncanny events that defy the odds, come in various forms, from minor, inconsequential occurrences to life-altering twists of fate that can profoundly influence a person's life. While some may attribute these happenings to mere chance, others find meaning in them, viewing them as possible signs or messages from the cosmos. Join us on this journey as we uncover the 15 weirdest coincidences ever to unfold. Number 15. The Miss Unsinkable, Violet Jessop. Violet Jessop, a stewardess and nurse, became known as Miss Unsinkable due to her extraordinary luck in surviving not one, but 3 harrowing maritime disasters. Born in 1887, Jessop embarked on a career with the White Star Line, a prominent British shipping company in the early 20th century. Her incredible journey through these calamities began in 1911, when she found herself aboard the RMS Olympic, which collided with the HMS Hawke. Although the Olympic suffered significant damage, it miraculously made its way back to port without sinking, and Jessop emerged unharmed. The following year, in 1912, Jessop's destiny took her aboard the ill-fated RMS Titanic, a ship that tragically struck an iceberg and sank in the icy waters of the North Atlantic. Despite the catastrophic loss of life, Jessop managed to secure a spot on a lifeboat, ultimately being rescued by the RMS Carpathia. Her final maritime misfortune occurred in 1916 while she was serving as a nurse aboard the HMHS Britannic during World War I. The Britannic, a sister ship of the Titanic, struck a mine and sank in the Aegean Sea. Once again, Jessop displayed remarkable resilience, escaping on a lifeboat and being rescued by a nearby ship. Violet Jessop's astonishing ability to survive 3 major maritime disasters has etched her name into history. Number 14. The incredible luck of Roy Sullivan. Roy Sullivan, a former park ranger at Shenandoah National Park in Virginia, holds an extraordinary and somewhat unsettling record of being struck by lightning more times than any other person in recorded history. Between 1942 and 1977, Sullivan encountered the sheer force of lightning an astonishing 7 times, earning him the nickname Human Lightning Rod. Sullivan's astonishing series of lightning strikes began in 1942 when he was taking shelter from a storm in a fire lookout tower. A lightning bolt struck the tower and traveled down to the ground, leaving him with a burnt leg. His second encounter with the wrath of nature took place in 1969 while he was driving his truck. The lightning bolt hit a tree and then jumped to his vehicle, setting his hair on fire. In 1970, the third lightning strike found Sullivan standing in his front yard, searing his left shoulder. The fourth strike, in 1972, occurred while he was working at the park, once again setting his hair on fire and causing him to lose his eyebrows. The lightning strikes continued relentlessly. In 1973, Sullivan was struck for the 5th time, this instance injuring his ankle. The 6th lightning strike occurred in 1976 when a lightning bolt hit a nearby power transformer and then leaped to him, leaving him with burns on his chest and stomach. Finally, in 1977, the 7th and last strike took place while Sullivan was fishing. Lightning struck the top of his head, traveled through his body, and exited through his lower leg, leaving him with severe burns. Despite the sheer improbability and astronomical odds of being struck by lightning 7 times, Roy Sullivan miraculously survived each encounter with only minor injuries. Number 13. The adoption agency that separated siblings. The Parent Trap movie follows the story of 2 twins who were separated by their parents at birth, only to discover each other's existence at summer camp. However, a similar and far less lighthearted story unfolded in real life. In 1977, Kathy Sackler, a 16-year-old, learned that she had an identical twin sister named Lori, who was also adopted from the same agency as her. Their parents had been instructed to keep the truth about the twins a secret. When they finally met, Kathy described the experience as overwhelming but profoundly comforting, as it made her feel less alone. However, this heartwarming reunion unraveled a deeply troubling secret. The Louise Wise Services, a reputable adoption agency in New York, had deliberately separated at least 10 sets of infant twins or triplets for a controversial study in the 1960s. The agency's decision to conduct this research with the intention of comparing the differences between nature and nurture was an ethical quagmire, to say the least. The separation of these infant twins and triplets for the study caused immense emotional distress for those involved. Some felt anger, others experienced sadness, and many stated that it had a lasting impact on their relationship with their adoptive families. The case of Kathy and Lori, the separated twins who went on to become famous worldwide, shed light on the consequences of the agency's decision to split up siblings and other sets of twins or triplets for the sake of scientific research. It raised significant ethical questions about how far an institution can or should go in the name of science. The impact of such a study extended well beyond the scientific realm, illustrating the profound and lasting consequences of these decisions on the lives of those involved. Number 12. Enzo Ferrari and Mesut Ozil resemblance. The striking resemblance between two individuals from entirely different fields, Enzo Ferrari, the founder of the iconic Italian sports car manufacturer, and Mesut Ozil, a German professional footballer, has captivated the imagination of people worldwide. Despite being separated by decades and pursuing entirely different areas of expertise, the striking similarity in their facial features has led many to label them as doppelgangers across time. Enzo Ferrari was born in 1898 and passed away in 1988, while Mesut Ozil was born in 1988. The same year Ferrari passed away. This intriguing coincidence, coupled with their almost identical appearance, has sparked speculation about a possible connection between the two men. Although no concrete evidence suggests a link between Ferrari and Ozil, their remarkable resemblance serves as a testament to the fascinating ways in which unrelated individuals can share striking physical traits. The phenomenon of doppelgangers across time raises intriguing questions about the nature of coincidence, genetics, and the potential for connections that transcend time and space. Number 11. The separated twins who led parallel lives. The story of James Arthur Springer and James Edward Lewis, identical twins separated at birth and reunited later in life, offers a captivating glimpse into the intricate interplay between genetics and environment. Born in 1940 and adopted by different families shortly after their birth, these twins grew up in entirely separate households, completely unaware of each other's existence. However, in 1979, when they were 39 years old, they were finally reunited through the diligent efforts of a curious adoptive parent and a local adoption agency. Upon their long-awaited meeting, they discovered an astounding series of similarities in their lives that appeared to transcend the influence of their distinct upbringings. Both men had been given the name James by their adoptive parents and had grown up with dogs named Toy. They had both married women named Linda, experienced divorce, and then remarried women named Betty. Additionally, both had sons, one named James Allen, and the other also named James Allen. Their career paths followed an eerily similar trajectory, as both worked in law enforcement, one as a security guard and the other as a deputy sheriff. They even shared the same hobbies, such as carpentry and mechanical drawing. The twins' medical histories were almost identical, with both experiencing tension headaches and undergoing vasectomy operations. They even smoked the same brand of cigarettes and drove the same make and model of car. These remarkable similarities piqued the interest of researchers who saw the Jim twins as a unique opportunity to explore the role of genetics versus environment in shaping human lives. Their case laid the foundation for the Minnesota Twin Study, a groundbreaking research project that sought to gain a better understanding of the influence of nature versus nurture on human development. The uncanny parallels between the lives of James Springer and James Lewis, from their personal choices to their medical histories, offer a compelling insight into the significant impact of genetics on various aspects of life. Their story also raises intriguing questions about the role of fate or chance in shaping our lives, as it suggests that certain elements of our existence may be predetermined by our genetic makeup. Number 10. The similarities between JFK and Lincoln. The fascinating parallels between John F. Kennedy and Abraham Lincoln, two of America's most iconic presidents, have intrigued historians and conspiracy theorists for generations. Despite being separated by nearly a century, these similarities raise questions about potential hidden connections between these legendary figures. First and foremost, both presidents were elected to office exactly 100 years apart, with Lincoln's election in 1860 and Kennedy's in 1960. They both faced significant challenges during their presidencies. Lincoln grappled with the Civil War, a pivotal period in American history, while Kennedy navigated the complexities of the Cold War and the Cuban Missile Crisis, highlighting their leadership during tumultuous times. Another notable parallel parallel is their strong support for civil rights, a commitment to equality and justice that marked both of their presidencies. Tragically, they also shared the grim fate of assassination while in office. Lincoln was shot by John Wilkes Booth in Ford's Theater on April 14, 1865, and Kennedy was assassinated by Lee Harvey Oswald in Dallas, Texas, on November 22, 1963. Remarkably, both assassins were killed before they could face trial, deepening the enigma surrounding the connection between these two presidents. The intriguing coincidences extend into their personal lives. Both presidents had 4 children, and each experienced the loss of a son during their time in the White House. Furthermore, Lincoln's Secretary Kennedy warned him not to attend the theater on the fateful night he was assassinated. Similarly, Kennedy's secretary, named Lincoln, advised him not to visit Dallas, adding another layer of mystique to the story. Even the connection between their successors holds a mysterious pattern. Both vice presidents who assumed office after the assassinations were named Johnson. Andrew Johnson was born in 1808, while Lyndon B. Johnson was born in 1908, precisely 100 years later. While it is challenging to draw definitive conclusions from these coincidences, they remain a captivating testament to the mysterious and unpredictable nature of life and history. These parallels between the lives, careers, and deaths of JFK and Lincoln continue to intrigue and inspire curiosity, leaving us to ponder the hidden patterns and cosmic connections that might exist in the pages of history. Number 9. Finding yourself in art museum. Sophie's visit to a museum in Paris was a dream come true for her. Her lifelong fascination with art and history had brought her to this moment, and as she strolled through the galleries, she couldn't help but marvel at the masterpieces that had endured the test of time. As she turned a corner, Sophie encountered a painting that would stop her dead in her tracks. It was a portrait of a young woman who bore an uncanny resemblance to Sophie herself. The round face, brown eyes, and wavy brown hair mirrored her own features. It was as if she were gazing into a mirror, albeit a mirror that reflected an era from the 18th century. Sophie was utterly taken aback by the sight. She couldn't believe what lay before her eyes. It felt like she was looking at a photograph of herself, only the woman in the painting was adorned in the fashion of a bygone age. Sophie had to do a double take, fearing she might be hallucinating. As she inched closer to the painting, a vigilant guard approached, reminding her not to touch the priceless artwork. Feeling a bit dizzy, Sophie took a step back. She had never encountered anything quite like this in her life. She couldn't help but wonder if it were some kind of elaborate prank, or if her own sanity was slipping through her fingers. Eventually, Sophie decided to move away from the bewitching painting. However, the connection she felt with the woman in the portrait lingered. Even though they had existed centuries apart, Sophie couldn't shake the eerie feeling of being somehow linked to the mysterious woman on the canvas. She pondered whether they shared some hidden bond. Even though the woman's existence was confined to the annals of history, the experience left an indelible mark on Sophie. During the rest of her time at the museum, she embarked on a quest to uncover other portraits that might bear a resemblance to herself or her family. To her astonishment, she discovered several more paintings that left her equally spellbound. It was as if she were unraveling a concealed tapestry of history, one that had remained unknown to her until that moment. As Sophie left the museum, she couldn't help but feel that she had witnessed something truly magical. The encounter with her doppelganger, preserved in a centuries-old portrait, had opened a doorway to a world of wonder and intrigue she would carry with her forever. Number 8. Dutch cyclist Martin de Jonge, surviving 2 airline disasters. Martin de Jonge, a Dutch professional cyclist, became an international sensation not for his sporting accomplishments, but for his incredible fortune in avoiding 2 major aviation disasters in 2014. De Jonge was originally scheduled to board 2 separate flights that ultimately met with tragedy, but in both cases, he altered his plans at the last minute, unknowingly sparing his life. The first extraordinary incident unfolded in March 2014, when de Jonge had a reservation on Malaysia Airlines Flight 370. This ill-fated flight mysteriously vanished without a trace while en route from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. In a twist of fate, de Jonge made a spur-of-the-moment decision to change his flight, opting for one that departed a few hours earlier, a choice that ultimately saved his life. Just 4 months later, in July 2014, de Jonge found himself on the brink of disaster once again. Originally, he was scheduled to board Malaysia Airlines Flight 17, which tragically was shot down over eastern Ukraine, resulting in the loss of all 298 lives on board. However, fate intervened again, as De Jong decided to take a different flight for cost-saving reasons. This decision spared him from yet another tragic outcome. The fact that Martin de Jong twice eluded death through sheer chance is an extraordinary coincidence, underscoring the capricious and unpredictable nature of life. His remarkable story serves as a poignant reminder of the fragility of human existence and raises contemplative questions about the role of fate or fortune in shaping our life journeys. Number 7. Mark Twain's Comet, Birth and Death. Mark Twain, the celebrated American author born as Samuel Clemens in 1835, is renowned for his sharp wit, humor, and keen insights into human nature. Yet, Twain's life is punctuated by an exceptional coincidence involving a celestial phenomenon. Twain's birth aligned with the appearance of Halley's Comet, a celestial object visible from Earth approximately every 75 to 76 years. Throughout his existence, Twain nurtured a profound fascination with this comet, even daring to foresee that it would mark his final moments. He humorously stated, "I came in with Halley's Comet in 1835. It is coming again next year, and I expect to go out with it." In a remarkable twist of fate, Twain's prediction materialized. He breathed his last on April 21, 1910, just one day after Halley's Comet made its closest approach to Earth. The extraordinary alignment of Twain's birth and death with the comet's periodic visits has enchanted generations of readers, endowing his life's narrative with a poetic and enigmatic dimension. Twain remains one of America's most cherished literary figures, further enhanced by this cosmic quirk. Number 6. The connection between Edgar Allan Poe's novel and the wreck of the Titan. Edgar Allan Poe, the renowned American author celebrated for his somber and enigmatic narratives, composed a relatively lesser-known piece that curiously intertwined with a real-world maritime catastrophe that unfolded years after his passing. In 1838, Poe authored the novel The Narrative of Arthur Gordon Pym of Nantucket, recounting a harrowing saga of shipwreck and survival. Embedded within the novel's pages is the tale of the ship Grampus, which confronts a nightmarish tempest, ultimately yielding to the unforgiving forces of the sea. 4 survivors ingeniously evade the vessel's demise by taking refuge in a lifeboat. However, their grim battle for survival drives them to the unimaginable depths of resorting to cannibalism. Regrettably, the victim of this dire necessity is a young cabin boy bearing the name Richard Parker. In a heart-wrenching turn of events, Richard Parker succumbs to this gruesome fate and becomes the source of nourishment for the remaining crew. Fast forward 46 years to the calendar year 1884, an era when the yacht Mignonette embarks on a voyage from England to Australia. This ill-fated journey becomes ensnared in the clutches of a catastrophic tempest, culminating in the complete wrecking of the vessel. As fate would have it, the 4 survivors find themselves adrift upon the unforgiving waters in a lifeboat that bears meager provisions. These dire circumstances echo the portrayal in Poe's literary creation. The surviving quartet, teetering on the precipice of starvation, elect to rely on the cruel hand of fate, drawing lots to designate the sacrificial offering that would ensure the others' survival. Tragically, the fateful selection befalls a young cabin boy known as Richard Parker, an appellation eerily mirroring the fictitious character within Poe's narrative. In a macabre twist of destiny, Richard Parker's life is taken, and his remains serve as sustenance for the surviving crew members until their rescue by a passing ship. The disconcerting parallels between the incidents depicted within Poe's literary work and the real-life tragedy of the Mignonette ignited profound dialogues and debates. While some attribute the synchronicity to mere happenstance, others view it as a harbinger of clairvoyance or prophetic insight on the part of the author. Irrespective of the interpretation, the eerie kinship between Edgar Allan Poe's fictitious shipwreck and the factual calamity of the Mignonette persists as one of the most peculiar instances of coincidence in the realms of literary and maritime history. It beckons us to ponder the inscrutable forces that may govern our world. Before we move on, here is today's subscriber's pick. Hey there, curious minds. Feast your eyes on this intriguing image. Take a closer look at the lady who happens to be posing beside a picture with "murder" written on it. Now that's not your everyday selfie caption, is it? Could this be the classic case of an accidental doppelganger entangled in a murder mystery? Well, in a world filled with uncanny coincidences, who knows what's cooking? We want to hear your most outlandish theories on this one, folks. Drop your thoughts and wild speculations in the comments below. Let's unravel the mystery together. Number 5. The Curse of King Tut's Tomb and the Titanic. The association between the Titanic and King Tut's tomb may initially appear far-fetched, but these two historical events are bound by an eerie connection through a single passenger. In 1912, the opulent Titanic liner tragically sank after colliding with an iceberg, resulting in the loss of more than 1,500 lives. Among the passengers on this ill-fated voyage was William Thomas Stead, a British journalist renowned for his literary works. In a remarkable twist of fate, Stead had penned a fictional tale in 1886 titled How the Mail Steamer Went Down in Mid-Atlantic. This narrative, composed 26 years prior, remarkably depicted a ship sinking after a collision with another vessel, foreshadowing the Titanic's tragic fate. However, the intriguing coincidences don't conclude there. In 1892, Stead authored another story named The Curse of the Pharaohs. This narrative explored the consequences of opening an Egyptian tomb, prophesying a series of deaths and calamities. Strangely, this story seemed to foretell the unearthing of King Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922. This archaeological discovery was often associated with a perceived curse, as numerous individuals linked to the excavation experienced untimely deaths or misfortune. The mystery connection that William Thomas Stead shares with both the Titanic disaster and the so-called Curse of King Tut's Tomb stands as a perplexing coincidence that continues to captivate the imagination of historians and enthusiasts. It encourages us to contemplate the mysterious threads that can weave together apparently unrelated events in history. Number 4. The 21-year curse of the silver screen. The premature deaths of several prominent actors have given rise to the belief in what is commonly known as the 21-year curse. This eerie pattern appears to cast a shadow over the world of cinema. The sequence of events began with the demise of the silent film icon Rudolph Valentino in 1926, when he passed away suddenly at the age of 31. Remarkably, exactly 21 years later, in 1947, another celebrated actor, George Sanders, also met his end at the age of 31. The peculiar pattern persisted with the tragic death of James Dean in 1955 when he was just 24 years old. Exactly 21 years later, in 1976, Sal Mineo, another young actor, aged 24, experienced a similar fate. However, the most widely recognized instance of this purported curse unfolded with the passing of the iconic actress Marilyn Monroe in 1962 at the age of 36. Intriguingly, 21 years later, her former husband, Joe DiMaggio, breathed his last in 1933 at the age of 57. While it is entirely plausible that the 21-year curse is nothing more than a series of coincidences or the result of selective attention, the recurring theme of untimely deaths among famous actors remains a disconcerting and enigmatic phenomenon. Number 3. The man who survived 2 atomic bombs. Tsutomu Yamaguchi, a naval engineer traveling for Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, endured the unthinkable by surviving both atomic bombs dropped on Japan during World War II. On August 6, 1945, Yamaguchi found himself in Hiroshima when he witnessed a B-29 bomber release a small object from the sky. Moments later, the heavens ignited with a brilliance akin to a massive magnesium flare. Although he swiftly sought shelter in a ditch, the shockwave from the explosion still hurled him into a potato field. After spending a harrowing night in an air raid shelter and witnessing the unimaginable devastation of the city, Yamaguchi embarked on a journey to Nagasaki. There, he reported to work the following morning, narrating his account of the atomic bomb to his boss. However, his boss was incredulous until another bomb struck, and once again, Yamaguchi found himself caught in the destructive blast. Despite suffering severe burns on his face, he miraculously survived the horrors of both atomic bombings in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Yamaguchi's well-documented story stands as a chilling testament to the catastrophic consequences of nuclear weapons. The harrowing eyewitness accounts from survivors vividly describe these bombings as living nightmares, serving as a powerful reminder of the urgent need to ensure that such catastrophic events never recur. Number 2. The Reincarnation of Anne Frank. Barbara Carlin. The tale of Barbara Carlin, a Swedish woman who claims to be the reincarnation of Anne Frank, stands as one of the most remarkable and controversial instances in the realm of past life memories. Barbara Carlin, born in 1954, just 9 years after the tragic death of Anne Frank in a concentration camp, began exhibiting a perplexing knowledge of Frank's life and experiences from an extraordinarily young age. At the mere age of 2, Carlin began sharing vivid recollections of her asserted previous life as Anne Frank, the Jewish teenager who endured the Holocaust by hiding and eventually met her grim fate in the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp. What makes this even more astonishing is that Carlin had no prior exposure to Frank's story or the historical context of the Holocaust. Nonetheless, she accurately recounted intricate details about Frank's family, the concealed refuge within the secret annex, and the tragic conclusion they faced. In 1963, when Carlin was just 9 years old, her family embarked on a trip to Amsterdam, a pivotal moment in her life. Upon their arrival at the Anne Frank house, a profoundly unusual occurrence unfolded. Carlin remarkably guided her parents directly to the entrance of the secret annex, which was not visible from the street. Her recognition extended to various items within the house, including Anne Frank's handwriting and family photographs, evoking strong emotions within her. Over the course of her life, Barbara Carlin has encountered skepticism and criticism from those who question the authenticity of her purported memories. Yet she has also found support from notable figures, including Holocaust survivor and Anne Frank's cousin, Buddy Elias, who held the belief in the potential connection between Carlin and Anne. While the concept of reincarnation remains a topic of ongoing debate, the Barbara Carlin case offers a compelling illustration of unexplained phenomena in the realm of human experience. Her story challenges our understanding of the nature of consciousness and the prospect of existence beyond death, inviting us to reflect on the enigmatic facets of life and the potential connections that may traverse multiple lifetimes. Number 1. Couple discovers their siblings after 14 years of marriage. Marriage between close family members is generally regarded as taboo in our society, largely due to various reasons. However, what if such a union occurred without the couple having any prior knowledge of their familial connection? Recently, an American couple shared a startling revelation on TikTok after being married for 14 years and raising 2 children together. They discovered that they were, in fact, siblings. In a brief video, the husband recounted their relationship history. "I met this lady in 2008, and we got married in 2011. We had our first child in 2011 and our second child in 2015. We've been married for 10 years, and we've been together for 13. We've just recently found out that we're brother and sister." Naturally, the video left many questions unanswered. Viewers were eager to know how they stumbled upon this shocking information and what they planned to do next. The video quickly went viral, amassing thousands of likes and over 7,000 comments in just 72 hours. While some questioned if it was a hoax, the couple appeared genuine, and the video's poor quality suggested that it was recorded with an older phone. This situation is not entirely unprecedented. Another young couple discovered they were siblings, both having been adopted and completely unaware of the existence of a sibling. It's possible that a similar scenario occurred with this couple. Regardless, the idea of realizing that your soulmate is, in fact, your sibling is unimaginable and undoubtedly presents a challenging situation for all involved. While these examples might appear extraordinary, strange coincidences do indeed happen frequently in our everyday lives. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section on whether or not you believe that coincidences are purely accidental.